Well, hello everybody. Welcome to a Sunday session. It is, well, we'll call it Breakfast Club Sunday session, Ken's Corner, call it whatever the hell you want. Welcome to the local pundit. Great to see everybody, and we are up and away. We're going to cover a couple of topics today, and in order to do that, I need to bring in somebody that knows what he's talking about. So, welcome to the show, Paddy. How you doing, buddy?
Nice intro. I like that.
So yeah, we're up and away.
Even if it's not true, but I'll take it.
That's right. That's right. You know, Breakfast Club, whatever, Sunday session. For me, it's Monday. It's 6:30 a.m. on a Monday. What time is it for you, Paddy?
It is 10:30 in the evening.
On Sunday.
Yeah.
So it is still a Sunday session for you.
Absolutely.
Just. Well, after we've got away from slitting our wrists after losing to Shrewsbury through the week, and just me losing my crap before I had to leave the extra time with you. I didn't get to watch the rest of the show. How'd it go?
Yeah, not too bad. It was fine.
Yep.
Yeah. I cheered myself up when I saw the rest of the results from the weekend.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all, really, in the end, was it?
No, not really. Just Wickham, but they need a bit of time to drop some points because they're adjusting their squad.
Yes, yeah, they need time to just go down the trash can.
Yeah.
Help us out a bit. Because, by the way,
I definitely think they'll slide.
Yeah, me too, but that's the way we played. We need everybody to slide. We need a serious change in form from that game. But anyway, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to park it. And today we're going to cover off just a couple of topics today. So we're going to try and keep them nice and tight. We'll sort of try and stay around 10 minutes a topic. And then if people want to come in or want to chat, they can. But we'll basically, and we've been assigned topics, very organised here at the local pundit, as always, as you know. Paddy is going to cover off stadium news today because Paddy's got a lot of stuff on the stadium and he's going to be the boss on that one. We'll see what he's got for us. And I'm going to cover off transfer news and what's been going on in the background. But anyway, that's all good. So we might as well get straight into it. Morning to everybody in the chat. I see we've already got 30 odd people in and we're up and away. Glenda, Drew, Brian, Steve, Matt, Al, Kelly. Welcome everybody. Marie from SoCal, you're all in there. I see there's even Wayne Evans is in. Some guy called Josh Anthony's in there. Never heard of him. John Merrill, Emma. Morning everybody. Well, Paddy, you've got stadium news. So let's just jump straight into it. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so the club released a statement regarding the cup, and I know it's been covered quite a bit, but I said I will go through it quickly because we haven't really covered it. So a new proposal will be going in, new planning will go in early February, according to the club, and they will then move forward with the new cup as soon as the final match has completed. So that will either be after our final standard match if we have gotten the automatics, or we'll have to wait till after our home match if we end up in the playoffs. So that'll be a little bit later. They have stated so far that the pitch will be removed immediately the next day after that match, and then works will start on the COP ASAP from that point. So the main deadline they're working to is the under-19s UEFA competition. So that is happening in the summer of 2026, and we are kind of the main host of it because we have the largest ground and we will be getting the final and stuff like that. So the other grounds that are hosting that with us are Nantport in Bangor with just over 1,000 seats, Colwyn Bay with 6,000 seats, Deeside with 500, and Denbigh, if I'm correct, basically near none. It's tiny there from what I can see. So
I love it, near none.
Now, the reason I checked the size of the stadiums is there has been questions of, well, what happens if we're not ready in time, if we don't have the new cup? Well, to be honest, after checking those stadiums, not much, I think, because I think the stadium as it is without the Kop will be enough at 10,000 to host everybody. But obviously, we want to have the new Kop up, show off the new stadium. And that, when completed, will be a UEFA Cat 4 stadium. And as part of that, they do need to upgrade the pitch, which they delayed from last season because they wanted to do the works at the same time as the Kop. There will be underfloor heating in it, which will mean that it is highly unlikely that we will need to delay any matches due to the pitch. Now, as it happens, we have a very good pitch and we haven't had to for waterlog issues or cold as it is, but this will pretty much guarantee it moving forward. Also to be added are the gantry works for cameras. So the Cat 4 stadiums do want to have options for more cameras. So they will be upgraded. At the moment, the cameras are in the Mold Road stand where the boys are. And then on the opposite side is where the dugouts are. So the dugouts will also be moving. Sorry, I did that the wrong way around. On the Mold Road side, we have the dugouts, but they are due to move to the opposite side. So where exactly they're putting them, we don't know. We're assuming it's the other side. I've never seen them down by a goal. However, it is also expected that the changing rooms will be moved into the bottom of the Kop as well. So both sets of teams will come out from underneath the Kop. They will have new dressing rooms put in there. In order to also make the deadline, you can, of course, not do a lot of the internals. So we want to have a lot of entertainment space, food and drink spaces, stuff like that. They don't necessarily have to be ready and in use at the very start if needs be, but obviously you would like to have it. Also, from minutes that have been released, they have been talking about the facilities, and what they're saying is they want to have a similar style that a lot of the hotels use, which is the floating walls that you can move and expand so that you can make it into one huge room when you're busy, or you can cut it down into smaller sections, say 50%, and then only open half the bar to cut down on labor costs and stuff like that. Or outside of football, they can make multiple spaces and use them at the same time, rent them out, or do private bookings, stuff like that as well. So
like convention centers, Paddy.
Yeah, like convention centers, exactly. Yeah. Now the big thing that was mentioned was, is the Kop increasing from 5,500 to a higher amount? This seems to be a little bit up in the air at the moment, and people have been saying different things. But the way I read it is that they are using the same footprint, so just generally the whole Kop area, that the same footprint is not going to change for the planning. And the planning that will be going in February will be for 5,500 seats still. But what is likely going to be done is one of two things. They said that with the new plans, they will have the ability to expand to 7,000. So either there will be a later planning application to get the application up to 7,000, and by the end of the year, they will increase it to 7,000 immediately, or it is just the new plans allow for future expansion at a later point. Personally, I believe it's the former, where during the build process, they're going to apply for an adjustment up to the 7,000 and then build to that. But they have not got planning yet. So that's kind of the way they've worded it. Also with the planning as well, maybe it's not going to go in February, but they are planning phase 2 and phase 3 as well. So they have been doing the plans for other parts of the ground in order to have a full cohesive unit, and also how they're going to connect together. So potentially that will allow for corners to be added, attaching to the Kop. And if they are keeping it at 5,500, I assume that is not going to be in the planning again in February, because that's a major change. However, phase 2 may add into it at a later stage to fill in the corners, which I think likely.
That's my understanding too, Paddy. I think you're nailing it right here from a stadium perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The one other thing that was considered as well that they are not clear on is movement of the pitch. It may be possible that they are shifting the pitch further up towards the cop area in order to release a little bit of ground space on the far end, so that when they do the mould road, maybe they're looking at a twin stand at that end, and they may need just a little bit more space. So there is maybe potential for shifting the cop back a little bit, moving the pitch up, and we'll know that fairly shortly, because that should be in the February plans.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, Paddy, and it's interesting because that's going to be quite odd if they go that route, which is major, by the way, because the lights are obviously set up now and they would have to be adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
The obviously both the stadiums on the side, so Mould Road and the Wrexham Lager Stand on the other side, will then be off centre, and there'll be
Off centre, yes.
At the end, and they might do some temporary seat. I like that idea that you're talking about. Then they might do some temporary seating on either side as well. In that, depending on how far they move the pitch, I guess.
Yeah, it really depends on how they look at it, because you can do two things potentially, which is you could move the cop back but not move the pitch if you were thinking that the other stand won't be needed for a couple of years. However, because you're putting in all the underfloor, I think it would make more sense to move it now and just put up with the fact that it's a little bit off-centered now.
Yeah.
But again, these are still up in the air. Answers are never perfectly obvious sometimes. Sometimes they're a little bit vague.
If they don't go down that route, Paddy, so playing devil's advocate at the other end, at the tech end, they may possibly buy back 20, 30 metres of land off the university.
Always a possibility, but less likely on that side, I think. Could always be done, potentially. That's always an option. Now that you've said that, you have reminded me about the student blocks owned by the university.
Yep.
No official word on that, and no one seems to be asking about them. It has been reported that all the students in there have been told that this is their last season in there. So the next student year, they won't be in that housing anymore. Now,
no. And we do have a secret spy on that, and he's in the chat right now.
Yes.
So he's got a relative there. I'll just say relative.
Yeah. So from what we've been told, they are building other accommodations that pretty much equal the same capacity as what they would be losing on that side. Now, no confirmation that we have taken those back or are going to take them back from the university, but it's a logical inference that if they're setting up accommodations elsewhere and they're emptying that out, that they would do that, because it's one of these scenarios where the usefulness of the buildings and the life of them is kind of coming to the end, whereby you would have to do a major renovation internally to bring them up to date with modern standards, which can be a huge expense for a university or anybody really, if they're required to do this over time. So they may actually be better off to build new and just give them to us and sell them to us at a cost. That might actually be cheaper to sell them on, build somewhere else and do it that way. Now, with regards, what are we going to do with them? They kind of impact the corners, potentially. At least one of the buildings does more so. The second building that's a little bit further away, I don't think that impacts the space you would potentially need. However, there could be an option of just building into them as well and keeping the structure of it as it is. Knock out the rooms and stuff and build it out, have office space or have whatever else is useful there, and just link it directly into the edge of the stadium. There are plenty of stadiums that have additional buildings built into them. So
direct entry walkway from a
from an office space, yeah.
office space, hotel.
Well, a hotel would be a massive thing to do, but potentially yes, there is no reason in theory you couldn't do it.
Come and watch the game and stay for the night.
Yeah, but they do need office space and stuff, and they do want to move offices and everything else out. You've got the shop needs to go in somewhere. There's talk of a Hall of Fame for Wrexham as well for people to go. There was a question on that, and they stated that they're looking at internal and external spaces for potentially doing that. So they do need space in that building, and if you want to free up space in other wings, in other sides, in order to rebuild those, you want to move everybody out first, and then have that space dead. So,
Paddy, I haven't put up any comments yet, but this comment has to go up. You have to read that.
Imagine if they built the brewery again across the road and they could run beer lines under the wall going straight to the taps in the bar. That'd be impressive. Yes, there is actually a site just across the Mold Road, which would be amazing as a brewery site. And actually, what I was thinking is that is potentially your spot for the fan zone, right across the road. So you build a brewery on one end, you build a nice fan zone on the other end, and that's where people can gather beforehand, walk straight across the road, and link everything in together. That would be cool. Yeah,
and the train station's at the cop end too.
And the train station is just down that side as well. Yeah. So that's another thing that was asked about. Can we link the train station directly in? And it was basically just stated that there are plans in place for what to do with the train station, and it's not in our control. It's part of what they wish to do with it. So it will get easier access, I'm sure, but probably not perfect access,
No.
Yeah.
Well, look, that's we've done well. I've purposely let this run because we've got to 15 minutes because I was not surprised that it was going to take that long to do all this stuff on, and we've really just scratched the surface. But that's the way this show's going to run, guys. We're going to keep it short. We're going to keep it sweet. And there's going to be, because I know I've already got the next couple of topics lined up for Paddy to do his homework. Amazing job, mate. Amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I want to see the new plans.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Cannot wait. Well, we're going to keep moving right along, guys. We are going to get into now transfer news. So, look, let's talk first off who's out. So, Bod Bardson has gone, and he will be an opponent at some stage this year because he's gone to Burton Albion.
Yep.
So, yeah, so he's gone, wasn't getting the minutes, needed to get some play time, and has been cleared off the roster. So he's signed with Burton. Also, Billy Waters has gone back down to the National League to Oldham Athletic. So he's gone, definitely.
With now, a handful of dollars.
Handful of dollars, yes. Not a lot, I'd imagine.
Oh, quite a bit, I would think.
Hey?
Quite a bit, I would think.
Yeah.
He was on a very significant contract.
What do you reckon we would have got for that, Paddy? Like
next to nothing.
Yeah.
Next to nothing, and paid him off, I would think.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. And that's the way of the world, when you're trying to go up.
When you make a mistake with your contract, you pay for it.
Yep. Yep. And then you have, Sam Dolby. There's nothing official on that yet, but he's gone.
I don't think he's coming back, but they really should have announced it by now.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I worry about a last minute recall if this is what they're doing.
Billy Waters is gone. So, he wasn't on the squad roster, but he was on the roster, but not on the squad roster.
Yeah.
Yeah. For want of a better word. So, and then I guess we move on to signings now. Well, signings that don't count towards your starting lineup. First off, we are the Foster goalkeeper club. We had a Ben. We've officially got a Brad now. So, yeah, we have officially signed Brad Foster, which is, a good thing, I think. just to have that kick. And he did well in the game that I watched him play.
He did okay.
I'm not saying he's better than AO, but he was a good player.
Well, we're back to 3 goalies, so
hey,
we're back to 3 goalies, so that's
which
minimum you want,
need
yeah.
So now we'll get into the, I guess the speculation would probably be the best word for it, Paddy.
Yep.
Yeah, and we have first off, and I'll start with Michael Smith. Now, Michael Smith is currently playing for Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
And, are we going to sign this guy or not? Who knows? The odds are, what I will say is our secret spies have noticed that the canopies were up. Media was being done just this last week at the club. What that was, no one can say officially because nobody knows officially. But what we do know is that there has been some stuff going on at the club. I am still very bullish with we're signing players. Now, who they are, not sure. My favourite one that I really want, I'll bring up in a little bit. But first off, we'll talk about Michael Smith. So he's 1.91. So he's, what's that? That's about 6'4", 6'5" or something.
Yeah.
Like tall. Big man, Sheffield Wednesday. He's 33 years old. So he's a stopgap player, really, isn't he? I mean, is he good enough for the championship, Paddy?
Yes, he is. A lot of fans don't want him to leave. So he's wanted by the fans at the team. However, it appears that the coach doesn't have him in his future plans, that he is he's an old school type of striker. So he's out of favour from that point. But he is one of their more on-form strikers this season, even though that's the case. So he sounds perfect for what we need, to be honest.
He's a parky striker.
He's an absolute parky striker. Yeah. Totally in the mould of a better Palmer.
Yeah. Better Palmer. Interesting, yeah. We could almost coin that phrase right now, couldn't we? We all keep saying we need a better Palmer.
Yeah. Problem is, the negatives on it is Chansiri is fighting with the manager. They apparently do not have a good relationship, haven't spoken since December. Now, he's the owner. It doesn't necessarily mean he needs to talk to his manager before selling a player. So he can sell him to us without talking to his manager.
He can do what he wants.
He can do what he wants. However, what he tends to do is absolutely nothing. He doesn't sell players very often, and he usually lets them run out their contract and just leave that way. So he is out of contract in the summer. It is very possible that Chansiri does not care, does not want to sell, is not bothered to sell, and is not available. Because apparently we were looking at him significantly last summer and couldn't get him.
Yeah. Yep.
So that makes me nervous. But maybe. Now
so I'll move on from Michael. I hope we get him, to be honest. The next one we have is this fellow Asgard, who is currently playing at Wigan against us in the league. Now, he's only a young 22-year-old, 188 centimetres, only 3 centimetres difference. He's this much shorter than Michael Smith. I don't know about this guy. What do you reckon? He's not for me, Paddy.
Okay, well, he's not for the Palmer position either. So he would be taking over Lee's role potentially.
So kicking corners into the side of the net.
You're awful positive today, aren't you?
Oh, sorry. as soon as you said Elliot Lee, I just remembered that corner. It was just like, oh my God, I could have kicked a better corner than that. That's really saying something.
Okay, so this is an interesting signing that I have been discussing most of the day actually on our Discord. So quick shout out, guys, if you're not in the Discord, go join me in the Discord and you can ask all these questions. So rumor has it that his buyout clause is $2.5 million. And I have also heard from Birmingham side that there is a further clause on his buyout clause that it is only for clubs that are above League One. So that's a weird one. I have asked around about it, and apparently this is not uncommon, but these types of clauses are done, and they are done to stop direct competitor teams from actively targeting you to try and weaken you. So under this scenario, let's say we are willing to pay the 2.5 million. We can put that offer towards the club. The club can refuse it outright, and they don't have to basically tell the player about it. It doesn't activate his clause. If a championship team comes in and offers 2.5 million, it does activate the clause, and then they can deal directly with the player, Asgard. Now, we are not alone in wanting him. There is talk of about 3 clubs in the championship that also are actively looking at him, who may be fairly comfortable in whacking 2.5 million down on him. So either they're willing to sell him, and it's just going to become a bit of a race and a back and forth on the money, in which case they probably would even sell him to us, because they're happy for us to negotiate up the price for them at that rate. Or
which we've never been happy to do.
Which we've never been happy to do. Plus, if you look at the type of player he is, he's not a Parky type of player yet. He's not a Wrexham type of signing yet. And why would he want to come to us? Now, we have a better shot of promotion than his club. And we're not really competing against each other at the moment. So I don't think that's too big of an issue. But when you have potentially 3 clubs in the championship looking for you, why would you take a shot on Wrexham, who are still in League One with no guarantee of going up?
Yep.
Maybe because he'll be coming in as number 1, pretty much. If very quickly taking over the role, being the big man to gain us promotion and come up to the championship with us. But I think that's kind of you need to be a special type of person to make that sort of move at a young age, rather than just take a more safe championship spot where you might be sitting a little bit more.
First rule of negotiation, Paddy, always think what the other side wants.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about what would be best for him, it's not coming to Wrexham. I hope it does, but it's not coming to Wrexham.
But
you'd go to a championship team.
Yeah, but ultimately it is the type of player we should be looking at. It is potentially in the region of the price bracket we should be looking at, because the instant we go up to championship, we're talking 2.5, for almost anybody of worth in the championship. Yeah. So it's not potentially a ridiculous price at all. He is young, but these are the type of risks you're going to have to take, is to start paying 2 million, 2.5 million for all our players to upgrade the squad once we're at the championship level. So if you're willing to start it now, that's one thing. He is no absolute guarantee that he will get us promotion.
No.
He is very, very, very likely more goals in the remainder of the season. But he's used to a different style as well. So
and
no guarantees with that one.
That's the kind of chance that Elliot Lee took. Yeah, but I guess my counter to that is basically that when Elliot Lee came in, we were spending big bucks, like 3 times what people were spending in the National League. We were almost guaranteed going up. And then we went up again, because we had spent that sort of money. So I get the point, but it is what it is, that's it's going to be very interesting to see this. But I'm going to move it right along to the next one, because this is my favorite one. That this is A, because it's coming from my other team, but B, because holy dooly, Jayden Danns, Liverpool under 21, 19 years old, 183 centimeters tall. I mean, that's the sort of player I'd love to get on a loan. Oh my God, that would really, really be making a statement.
Yes. Issues with this one too. One, everyone is saying he's good enough for the championship, so he should probably be going there already. rather than coming down to League One. So that's one side of it. Two, Parky doesn't like doing loans. And from that point of view, why would you trust him with a loan if he doesn't really like them? But better a loan in January than a
Yes,
loan in September,
that's
because
why I like this.
because from January you have until the end of the league, till the end of the season, and then we are where we are. The big problem in general I have, other clubs have, and potentially Parky has, is if you get someone in September and they do amazing, the clubs are going to take him away again in January because they're going to find him a higher club and they're going to challenge him with a better team because he's already proven himself. He's already got his value. And then you have to start the second half of the season with problems, a la Wickham.
Yep.
Wickham have lost pretty much all their loans back to their clubs because they have done so well with them. And now they're moving on to other things, and Wickham's in trouble. And now they're looking at selling Kone as well, taking their money, having a shot at playoffs and a shot of going up with their money in hand. And then basically they said that they are willing now to sell Kone because they want to have some money for the next manager that comes in. It's hard to read that one. My assumption is that is for the summer signings, not for January.
Yeah, and for me, that's why I loop back to this guy, because in exactly what you just said about getting a transfer now in January rather than September. When you look at it from Liverpool's point of view, they get to put a guy into a League One level team. That means he should be able to shine. If he can't shine here, then they'll cut him eventually because he won't cut the mustard to play for Liverpool. So it means that they then get to test him out here. If he works, it's fantastic for them because then they get the choice to either A, bring him back or leave him with us and in the championship next year. So it's a win-win for Liverpool, which is great for them as long as it does two things. If he fails, in other words, he doesn't play well and we don't go up, then there's a whole reassessment and it hasn't cost them anything. He's got playing time and they found out that he couldn't cut it. B, which I think is probably more likely to happen, is his quality will be enough to get us across the line, get us auto promotion, get us up into the championship. And they've then got the choice. If he played exceptionally well, they take him back.
Mm-hmm.
If he's just playing okay and they want to see a bit more, they leave him with us for a bit longer.
Yeah, agreed. Another flip side of this, though, is that our style of play, I think, will seriously hamper us. So two hurdles. First, Parky has to be willing to offer time in the team. So he has to be willing to tell them that I will play him over all of our strikers for usually at least a period of 4 to 6 weeks to assess him before dropping him to the bench if he's not good enough for the other strikers. Considering the position we are in the table, that's a massive ask of somebody. I don't think Parky is willing to do it. But our tactics are not like Premier League tactics. They're old school tactics. And I think that will hamper us in the players we bring in on loan, though.
I think that's hampered us previously as well, Paddy.
Potentially,
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, Parky's style has gotten the job done, but now it can become a bit of a hamstring for going forward.
Well, interestingly, the question to potentially ask, and there is no answer that I know for this, which is the cart and which is the horse? Does Parky not like loans because he can't get loans because people think he's too old school? Or does Parky just simply not like loans?
Yeah.
You know, like it's very easy when someone won't give you loans to turn around and say, well, I don't like loans anyway.
Well, I don't know that it is so much that, Matty, because
it's a bit harsh, but no, he hasn't.
Like he's loaned players out, but
loaning out, absolutely. That's just getting money back from the club.
Yeah.
Who have we loaned? Well, a couple. But if someone's not going to make your team, you just loan them out. That's pretty standard. But who has he brought in on loan? AO doesn't count. We were in desperate measures. We needed a goalkeeper. So who have we brought in?
And that's my exact point. Like, yeah, he's willing to loan people out. But the problem is, and again, it gets back to that negotiation factor of bringing people in. The other side, whoever it is, Liverpool, Sheffield Wednesday, pick any club, you look at a player and then they look at the club and they go, well, if we send our player to that club, what's going to happen to him? Is it of benefit for us for him to go there? A, their style of play. B, will he play? C, is it a good move? So, you got to look internally. You got to look at yourself to see why sometimes some of these things aren't succeeding. And, there's an interesting, let's call it, what is it? Feb 3 is the deadline, or Feb 4? Feb 3.
3, I think.
Yep. So there's 2 weeks. We are looking at 2 weeks.
It's coming soon.
Here we go, people. It is on. So, I think that'll cover it today, Paddy. We've been going for 36 minutes. I don't need to waste people's time. They can have their Sunday session back, whatever that may be. Aaron was going to be with us today, but he's on the tools. He's wrenching and he's fixing his wife's car, which is hilarious. He sent us a message. And Aaron, if you've been listening, good luck, buddy. Try not to get any of those blood knuckles on the wrenches. And how are you feeling, Paddy? I know you've come. Sounds like you're looking better.
Thank you. I'm doing okay.
Good to hear. I guess. Well, let's think about what's coming up. We've got big game this week.
Birmingham,
and I'm super positive after our last performance that we will only get beaten 4-0.
I'm just looking forward to the match, actually. I'm hoping I can just sit down and enjoy the match.
Yep.
Because the lower league teams are just stressful. It's a horrible situation, but I am so stressed with the lower level teams than anyone else.
Than the big matches. So,
yeah. I know we can lose to Birmingham. I know we're probably going to lose to Birmingham. But a nice draw or an amazing pull-out win. Yes, that would be fantastic.
Yeah,
but
I'll
be
hope positive again by the time game day comes around. It's going to take me a while to get there.
Yeah,
and I'm a little bit positive, Paddy, because over the weekend, we might just quickly. Actually, we'll do a quick 2-minute because we'll do a full catch up later. But here it is, the footy tips. The footy tips from the weekend. And
of course you're showing this because I dropped a few points.
Well, but Paddy, you can't be too upset. You're still leading.
No, I'm not upset. Go ahead.
Paddy's miles ahead on 236 points. He got 3 games right on the weekend. He got the draw for Blackpool Huddersfield, the Lincoln over Northampton, and Birmingham over Exeter. Josh actually did a bit of catching up too this week. He got more points than Paddy because that's who you got to reference yourself against, the leader. Josh got 3 right, but he also got a score. So he got Peterborough Leighton, he got Lincoln over Northampton, and he got Stockport over Reading with the score. Now, obviously, Aaron was concentrating too much on fixing his wife's car because he only got 2 games right. He got Birmingham right, and he got Rotherham. Of course he did. He picked the leaders of the table and the team that he got all the recruits for in the off-season, which is Rotherham. So he got 2 right. And then I actually had a bit of a lucky weekend. I got 5 right and a score. So I've caught Paddy up a bit. I'm only 15 points behind him now. So, but it was good fun. And then you'll actually see the midweek. We got 3 midweek games this week. These teams have got a busy week. These 6 teams: Wigan play Burton, Bolton play Charlton, Peterborough play Exeter through the week, and then they have to play again on the weekend. So all those teams are going to have tough backups this week.
Good.
So going to be interesting in the tips. So yeah, so that's up in the Discord. Feel free to have a look, get into it. It's going to be. And Ken, are you sure you're doing the math right? Kelly, I'm doing the math so it suits me.
Yeah, I haven't checked the last couple, but I have found mistakes previously, so maybe I should.
I have done mistakes previously, so and I openly admit to when I make a mistake and correct it, except for the last 2 rounds of the season when I'll get all the matches right and the scores and I'll fly back and beat Paddy. Maybe not. And I'm liking Chris's comment there. We're going to smack Birmingham Thursday. League One will be ours after Thursday. There we go.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, happy Sunday. I guess nearly time for bed for you, Paddy. What is it, 11:30 roughly?
11:10. Getting there.
Yep. Way too late for me. I would be sound asleep by then. So, but any last thoughts, Paddy, before we get out of here?
Yeah, let's just enjoy a fun match at home versus Birmingham.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Josh will be up again. Shows through the week, guys. Make sure to catch up with all the daily news. And I guess we might sign out at that point in time, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a great week. We'll chat through the week on that bombshell.
Take care, everyone.